When you hear 25-year anniversary, what comes to mind?
Think about all the long hours that I put in to get here, I guess. Um, I also think about like how many businesses, how few make it past, I don't know what the statistics are, but like very few make it past 3 years and then 10 years and let alone 25 years. I painted, in high school, my cousin had a painting company, or he was in charge of a painting company, and he used to take me along to learn the trade, but also to help, pay the bills. In my home, my mom, it was basically just me and my mom. My brother's disabled, and my dad was disabled growing up. So, I needed to help out, help pay the bills. My mom was born in Italy, and my dad was born in Boston. He came from a fishing business. My grandfather had a fleet of fishing boats in the North End, and so, if things turned out differently, I may have done in the fishing business. Unfortunately, my dad was hurt at a young age, and he became permanently disabled. My grandfather sold his fishing business, and so that kind of went out the window. And then in college, I studied criminology, thinking that I wanted to go into the FBI or some kind of federal agency. Was told that I'd have to relocate quite a few times throughout my career in order to move up the ladder. That would have meant to, leave my mom and my brother. My brother's autistic, and I just couldn't do that. So I figured, why not do something that I know, how to do. The name Arch, because Giacalone painting was just too long. So I'm like, no one's going to be able to pronounce that. And then I was thinking architectural, and it was actually my wife that, she's like, well, architectural is very long, why don't you just do Arch? And I was always thinking that I wanted a company that could be large scale, and at the time there were Suffolk Construction, still a huge operation. You would see buildings with Suffolk signs, and I said, I want something that's short and simple that you could see up on a building, And she said, well, why not just shorten it to Arch? And that's it, yeah. And I actually remember where we were when she came up with that. We were cleaning. Lori and I used to clean offices when we first got engaged. We knew we wanted to save for a house, so we would clean offices at night, and we were cleaning an office in Stoneham, and I specifically remember where we were. They were long days. It was basically wake up, work until 11 at night, between trying to find work, do the billing, estimate. You just wear every hat. I mean, I was worried about, as you take on employees and you have the responsibility of like, okay, I have to make payroll every week, that gets pretty nerve-wracking, I'd say, when you take on employees and that responsibility, everything changes. I knew the model worked, when calls started to come in, and we set up our first crew, and we had a crew chief that was running that crew. And I think it was when you had my second crew going that I'm like, okay, if I could keep 2 crews going, why can't I have 10 crews or 20 crews? I would be running around all day doing estimates and being project manager. Even though we had crews out there painting, it was like I was stretched too thin. I'd get to the point of like I could only do so many estimates a day. I have to give my wife a lot of credit for taking care of the kids in the home while I was building Arch. Now people will see me and say, oh, you're very successful, but they didn't see what happened along the way. And I often say, well, where were you at 5 o'clock. Well, I was getting out of work and, well, I was still at work. Where were you at 7? Well, I finished dinner and I'd settle in to watch TV. Well, I was still at work, you know, or I was going out with the guys or going to have drinks. Well, I was still at work, you know, 10 o'clock, oh, I was going to bed. Yeah, I was still at the office.
Coming up to today, 2022, arch painting. What gets you out of bed these days?
I'm pretty excited about the national expansion, you know, so for the longest time we did, you know, basically all of our work in Eastern Mass, in Southern New Hampshire. Then we started to spread out to basically all of New England. And over the last year, we've been expanding nationally, which is pretty exciting, you know, to be able to do projects, you know, in California, Texas, you name it. It really becomes something much bigger than me, you know. At first it's kind of all about me when you're starting and get your first few employees, you're responsible for their payroll, whatnot. I think at this stage, it's not about me anymore. It's much bigger than that. You know, it's just kind of how can we build something that takes care of all of these families. You know, it's not just about my family. It's, you know, this business supports, you know, hundreds of families. There's very few companies that are in this business that when you think of painting, you think of Arch, you know. They're really, you know, there's franchises out there that you could say are a household name, but there's really no privately owned, you know, family business that is a household name in this industry. So I'd say that's where I see us. When everybody's there, it's pretty crazy to think like, wow, this all started with nothing, you know? So it's, you know, that's the exciting part, is just, you know, taking something from nothing and it becomes its own living, breathing thing. That's pretty exciting. I don't know, I think when you grow up poor as well, you have this like anxiety about it all collapsing, even though, you know, you're 25 years in and, you know, we do have a good reputation, we have a good operation. You're always, at least myself, it's just in my DNA to be a little anxious about that. I don't know, I guess I am my worst critic. I am hard on myself, and I feel like, you know, I'm definitely proud of what we've accomplished, but I feel like there's so much more. You know, I feel like this is just the beginning.